But the call of the mines was too strong. So one day, I started digging and digging until I found this. A wonderland where anything you can imagine is possible. As long as what you imagine can be built out of blocks.
A Minecraft movie. Minecraft now has a movie. Alright. So I'm going to say this right off the gate. I have played Minecraft. I don't necessarily care for it. But I saw this movie with some family of mine because they are huge into Minecraft. And at the same time, I was going, I want to see how the hell they're going to pull this off. And I didn't like this at all. I didn't. So let's get into this. When I heard they were doing a Minecraft movie, I'm thinking, okay, what are they going to do? Because Minecraft is a game that really has no plot. So it's like, okay, what are you guys what's the story going to be? Like, it can't just be a whole bunch of pixels on the screen. You just can't do that. So then they said, oh, it's going to be done by the director of Napoleon Dynamite, which is Jared Hess. Napoleon Dynamite, I liked it the first time I saw it, but I think every time I saw it afterward, I'm like, okay, it's all right, whatever. I don't really care for Nacho Libre. The bits I've seen of something like Gentleman Broncos, it was just like, that looks dumb. So I was kind of going like, I don't know how this is going to go. Then it was announced that Jack Black was going to be Steve. And I'm like, he's not Steve in this. And I think this is for the film. It's Jack Black. He's playing Jack Black playing Steve. Because at the same time, when you look at something like Minecraft, Steve is just there. There's no backstory to him. There's no plot to him. He's just your character model with a name. That's it. So I was thinking like, okay, I still don't know how you guys are going to pull this off. Then after the movie was over and was talking with my family about it, I said, yeah, this reminded me a lot of Napoleon Dynamite because it's the same people. And then my stepfather said, did it remind you of Pixels? And I went, oh my God, it totally did. Like, almost. And if you don't know me, Pixels, I absolutely hate that film. Because it takes a really good concept and a really good story. Give it to Adam Sandler. What the hell do you think he's going to do? Mess it up. And make it so dumb, so ridiculous, and so stupid. This does that. This reminded me so much of Pixels. Now, Pixels pissed me off. This one, not that much. Not that much. But, okay, the positives. I talked with my family and I asked them, okay, how accurate were they to the structure of the game? And they said that they were fairly accurate. They were pretty accurate to it. So I give them points just for that. Jack Black and Jason Momoa are definitely the standouts in here. They commit to the stupidity on the screen. I'm like, oh God. All right. Let's keep this going. Now, and also, I thought it was cool. While I never watched this YouTuber Technoblade, I never watched him, but I knew of him and knew that he died of cancer. The little cameo they give him and what they do is, I'll say this. They're in a village, and then one of them points out like, oh, what's that? And it's a pig with the crown on him, and then just walks across the screen, and then Jack Black goes, it's a legend, and I was like, oh, that's nice of them. That's nice. And I'm just gonna say this: the crowd we were with, it was just a whole bunch of fans that were clapping and cheering over everything. Now, personally, I have no issue with that. Like with Ghostbusters Afterlife, man, I was getting so happy with that. Avengers Endgame, the whole crowd was cheering and like screaming. Deadpool and Wolverine, another example. But with this one, they're just saying random things that are from the game, and like the whole crowd just goes, yeah! Like there's a part where like Jack Black goes, it's a mining table. Yeah! And it's like, what? Honestly, we can drop you guys off at Spencer's and you'll just have a ball. And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, like I don't mind it, but they're just saying words. They're just saying it. They're not like, stop. Like, it got to the point where I almost wanted to like throw up some keys and like jingle them and go like, hey, look, keys. That might have just been me, but then with all these, stories coming out that like, oh, the police got called because they wouldn't shut up kind of thing. I'm just, yeah, that's just probably me. But anyway, to me, this movie was not funny. There was not one joke I laughed at. There were actually a couple parts where I silently went aside, which I hate doing. I hate being that guy. But this was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. There was not one part that I felt any like sympathy for these characters. I didn't like anybody in this movie. Nobody to me was likable, and they were all kind of annoying. Certain subplots and character motives did not need to be there, and at times made absolutely no sense. Like, I'm sure you've seen it in the trailers. There's a part where a villager gets run over by Jennifer Coolidge, who plays the kid, the main kid. He plays his I believe his vice principal, I believe. And she kept saying like, oh yeah, I got divorced, and I've been really, really sad. And then she hits this villager with her car, and then all of a sudden there's the spark there. And I'm like, what? Like, what? How does this progress the story? Oh, it doesn't? Oh, okay. Whatever. Random parts like that just made absolutely no sense. There were so many parts where I was like, this is just, I'm annoyed right now. Like, you have all these things. You're actually getting the look of this stuff for the most part. You're getting all like the game logic stuff down for the most part. There was a couple things like I saw this with my little brother and my stepfather. And my little brother was just like, yeah, there was this they changed and this stuff, but for the most part, they actually were pretty accurate. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And, this is definitely something where it's like, it's for the fans. I understand that. But if you're going to make a movie for the fans, you need to be clever. You need to be better than this. This reminded me so much of the FNAF movie, where they got the look down, but it just felt really hollow and nothing new was crafted. And it just felt like, okay, if you knew the game, you know where this is going. And there was nothing in there that they changed, nor were like, oh, we're going to try and change this, try to make it better. And, you didn't really feel for anybody in that movie. This is kind of the same thing, but to me personally, this just was like it was if Picasso was drunk, where, you have a Picasso painting and it's like, okay, I like, he used all the colors, but whoa, this is a mess. But it's kind of like, it's nicely shaped and everything, and stuff like that. But then if you get Picasso drunk, it's like, whoa, why is that like look droopy? Why is this doing that? Like, what's going on there? For the fans, this is for the fans. I understand. God, I'm trying to describe it best. I was gonna give this like a low fine, and then like the last 10 minutes, it does something that I always hated about kids films. They do like the celebratory, like, hey, we're gonna do like a dance or a musical number, and I absolutely hate that because it's been done to death and it's just so annoying. And then they do like a little a post credit scene, or like, yeah, a credit like mid credit scene that I literally out loud went, what the F? Like I said the F word out loud, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding? No, screw you. This gets terrible. I'm sorry. I've talked to friends who are fans of Minecraft, and they're just like, I enjoyed it. It's stupid, but I enjoyed it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm sorry. You're way nicer than I am. I even think like if I knew the games, I'd be upset about this, because I'm like, there's nothing here. This is just hollow. So, I don't know what else to say. Been ranting about this one, and for people who love Minecraft, you'll enjoy watching it on screen, but this honestly feels like a movie for like babies. I'm sorry. This feels like a movie for babies because there's just, besides the, visuals, there's nothing here. I could have easily just, watched this at home and just been like, yeah, whatever. So personally, I'm, sorry, but I did not like this at all.
What's this junk?
An ender pearl. Teleports you to wherever you throw it.
Yeah, right.
And that was the only one I had. No biggie. Oh yeah, there's one more thing you need to know.
Great. Now it's dark. That feel quick to anyone else?
One more thing you need to know.
Great. Now it's dark. That feel quick to anyone else?